Here's a video on factoring day 1 GCF notes. So you're going to multiply for 1 and 2. When you multiply, you're going to distribute and then add your exponents and multiply your numbers. When we're finding the greatest common factor, you're going to find the largest factor that has each one has in common. When you're dealing with numbers, you're going to use your calculator. You're going to write GCD in the calculator. 3, 18 equals 3. And so in the calculator, on a calculator page, you would use menu, 2 for a number, 5 for greatest common divisor, and 3, comma, you need to use the comma button, 18, close your parentheses and enter. That's how you get 3, okay? For variables, we're going to find the GCF. It's the one with the smallest exponent. So make sure you write that down. Let's go ahead and do examples 1 and 2. On examples 1 and 2, you're going to do exactly what we just finished learning. So here we're going to multiply 3w times w, and you add the exponents, so 3w squared. 3 times 2. When you multiply, it's just multiplying the numbers. 3 times 2 is 6. So you're going to put a plus 6w. There's no variable to add the exponent, so you just leave it at 6w. Number 2, you're going to take 2p times negative 6p. So you add your exponents and multiply your numbers. 2 times a negative 6 is negative 12. So you're going to write negative 12p, and you add the exponents squared. 2p times 1, so 2 times 1 is 2 right here, so plus 2p. Here you're done because there are no more like terms. All right, if you need to copy this down, again, please pause the video. If not, we are going to move on to example number 3. Example number 3, we're going to find the GCD of 3, 18. And in the previous example, it's the same. So you're going to go to your calculator, go to 1 for calculator, and you're going to press menu, 2 for number, 5 for greatest common divisor. 3, 18. You must put the comma, enter. You get 3. Again, if you forget the actual menu feature, you can go to the bottom and you can actually type GCD parentheses, and it actually pops up for you. So let's go ahead and do number 4, GCD of 8, 40. So 8, 40. The comma button is down here at the bottom, comma. So 8, 40. The greatest common divisor is 8. That's the biggest number that goes into 8, 40. 8. For number 5, we're going to take the GCD of your numbers, 6, 18. You cannot put a variable in the calculator. So let's find the GCD of your numbers. Menu 2, 5, and it's 6, 18. Enter. You get 6. So we're going to say the GCD of your numbers is 6, and then which one has a smaller exponent? X to the first is a smaller exponent, so x to the first is the smallest exponent. So together, we're going to say 6x is the GCD of 18x and x cubed and 6x to the first power. Number 6, we're going to find the GCD of the numbers 24, 36, and then we're going to find which one has a smaller exponent. So menu 2, 5, 24, 36, enter. That's 12. So the GCD of our numbers is 12, and x squared is the smallest exponent. Smallest exponent. So together, 12x squared is our GCD. Number 7, you're going to find the GCD of 40, 48. So menu 25, 40, 48, 8. So 8 is the largest number that goes into both. A squared, a to the first power, and b to the fourth. So a to the first power is the smallest exponent. And since both of them do not have b, you cannot consider b. So 8a is the GCD. On number 8, you're going to find the GCD of 20, 32. So you're going to take your calculator and use menu 25, 20, 32. You get 4. So 4, and then you look at your variables, and x squared is the smallest exponent. So together, it's going to be 4x squared is the GCD. All right, next side. Here, we're going to unmultiply and find our GCF, which is the same thing as GCD, in the calculator. And so when you find that in the calculator, remember, it's menu 25 for GCD. Then you're going to divide each term by the GCF, the greatest common factor. And then we distribute, which means multiply, to check your answer, okay? When you're factoring, you're finding the GCF, which is your GCD. It's the same thing, okay? So now that we have a minus sign between our terms, our answer is going to look a little different. So on number 9, go ahead and write that down. If you need more time, pause the video. On number 9, the first thing we're going to do is find the GCD. So 1, find the GCD of the numbers 14, 21. So in the calculator, you do not take the sign. It's only 14 and 21. So go ahead and take your calculator, open up a new document, and find the GCD, menu 25, and you're finding the GCD of 14, 21. You get 7. So 7, and then 2, you find the one with the smaller exponent. Here, x to the first, and there is no x, so no variable in common. So since they have no variable in common, 7 is the only thing that's going to go on the outside of the parentheses. And then we figure out what goes inside. When you figure out what goes inside the parentheses, what we're going to do is take here, we're going to take 14x and divide it by 7. 14x divided by 7 is 2x. Here, we're going to take a negative 21 and divide it by 7. So divide that. You're going to take negative 21 and divide it by 7. You get a negative 3. So minus 3. This is the final answer. What we just did here is we unmultiplied, undistributed. So our answer is 7 parentheses 2x minus 3. When you multiply that out, you get 14x. And then you get minus 21. So it checks off. All right, number 10. We're going to do the same thing. So looking at number 10, you're going to find the GCD of the numbers first. So first, find the GCD of 20, 15. So take your calculator and do menu 25, 20, 15. You get 5. So 5 is the greatest common factor of the two numbers, and there's no variable that they have in common. So 5 is going to go on the outside, and we're going to figure out what goes on the inside of the parentheses. And we're going to do that by taking 20x and divide it by 5. And then we're going to take our plus 15 and divide it by 5. So again, you're dividing to find out each individual term that goes inside the parentheses. So 20 divide 5 is 4. So you're going to have 4x here. And then you're taking 15 divided by 5. 15 divided by, 5. 15 divided by 5 is 3. So you should have a plus 3 here. So then when you check it off, you take 5 times 4x plus 3 and you check. 5 times 4 is 20x. 5 times 3 plus 15, and it checks off. So this is your answer. 5 parentheses 4x plus 3, close your parentheses. Number 11. When you work on number 11, you have to be careful because now both terms have a variable. Since both terms have a variable, you're going to take the one with the smaller exponent. But the first thing you're going to do is find the GCD of 4, 12. So you're going to take your calculator and you're going to do menu 25, 4, 12. 4. That's the greatest common factor between both of them. So 4. 2, the smaller exponent is x to the first. So x to the first is the smallest exponent. So our GCD is 4x. And that will go on the outside of the parentheses. So 4x will be on the outside of the parentheses, and we must figure out what goes inside the parentheses by dividing. So we're going to take the first term and divide. We're going to take 4x squared and divide it by 4x. We're going to take a positive 12x and divide it by 4x to find out each individual term. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. So here, when you divide, you must subtract your exponents. So subtract exponents. So 4 divided by 4 is 1. X, subtract your exponents, so x to the first power. Here, you're going to take 12 divided by 4. So 12 divided by 4. 12 divided by 4 is 3. X divided by x is gone. So plus 3. And this is your final answer. If you want to check to make sure that's correct, you would multiply that out. So if you take 4x times 1x plus 3 and multiply, 4x times x to the first is 4x squared. 4x times 3 is plus 12x. So when you multiply that out, it's correct. So this is your answer. 4x parentheses 1x plus 3. Number 12. You're going to find the GCD of 18 and 12. So first thing you do, find the GCD of your numbers, 18, 12. Menu 25, 18, 12. 6. 6 is the greatest common divisor between them. And then you look at the variables. X squared is the smallest exponent. So together, the GCD is 6x squared. And this is going to go on the outside of the parentheses. So 6x squared goes on the outside, and we're going to figure out what goes on the inside. So we're going to take 18x squared and divide it by 6x squared. Again, when you divide, you subtract the exponents, and then you're going to take a negative 12x cubed and divide it by 6x squared. Subtract your exponents. So 18 divided by 6 is 3. So you're going to get 3. And then x squared goes away because you subtract the exponents. Next, you're going to take a negative 12 divided by 6. So negative 12 divided by 6 is a negative 2. So you get a minus 2. X, subtract the exponents, so x to the first power. And this is your answer. We can go off to the side and check if our answer is correct by taking 6x squared times 3 minus 2x. 6 times 3 is 18x squared. 6 times negative 2 is negative 12x cubed. So it checks off. So this would be your final answer. Number 13. When you look at number 13, not all of them have the same variable, so you have to be careful. So on 13, the first thing you're going to do is find the GCD. So 1, find the GCD of your numbers, 20, 24. So menu to 5, 20, 24. When you find the GCD of 20 and 24, it's 4. So 4, 2, look at your variables. X to the first is the smaller exponent. There is no y, so x to the first is the smallest exponent. So together, your GCD is 4x, and this is what's going to go on the outside of your parentheses. So 4x goes on the outside of the parentheses. We'll figure out what goes on the inside. So we're going to take 20x squared and divide it by 4x. So divide your numbers. You're going to take negative 24 x to the first y squared and divide it by 4x. So when you take 20 divided by 4, 20 divide 4, you get 5. So here you subtract your exponents. So 5x because your exponents subtract. Now you take negative 24 and divide it by 4. So negative 24 divided by 4 is negative 6. So negative 6, x is going to cancel when you have only y squared left. So this is your final answer. 4x parentheses 5x minus 6y squared. And you can distribute and check. 4x times 5x is 20x squared. 4x times negative 6y squared is going to be negative 24xy squared. So that's your final answer. 14. Now that you have 3 terms, you have to do this 3 times. So you're going to have to find the GCD of the first 2 and the GCD of the first and the last. So let's find the GCD of 14 and 42. So 14, 42. So get your calculator and do menu to 5. 14, 42. You get 14. Now find the GCD of the first and the last, and then the last 2. Of 14 and 49. So find the GCD of 14, 49. You get 7. And then last, you would find the GCD of these 2. So from here, you're going to find the GCD of 14 and 7. So the GCD of 14 and 7, and you're going to get 7. So menu to 5, 14, 7. So you have 7 is the greatest common factor between all of those terms. So 7 is the greatest common factor of all 3 of them. Now look at the variables and identify which variable has the smallest exponent. So c squared is the smallest exponent. So your GCD is 7c squared. This is going to go on the outside of the parentheses. 7c squared. you're going to figure out what goes inside the parentheses by dividing each individual term. So you're going to take 14c squared divided by 7c squared. You're going to take negative 42c to the fifth and divide it by 7c squared. And you're going to take negative 49c to the fourth and divide it by 7c squared. So divide each individual term. 14 divided by 7, 14 divided 7 is 2. So you get 2c squared cancels. Then you take negative 42 divided by 7. So negative 42 divided by 7 is negative 6. So you get negative 6. C, you subtract the exponents, you get c to the third. Negative 49 divided by 7. And you get negative 7. So negative 7, subtract your exponents, you get c squared. This is your final answer. You can check 7c squared times 2 is 14c squared. 7c times negative 6c cubed is negative 42c to the fifth because you add your exponents. 7c squared times negative 7 is negative 49c to the fourth power because you add your exponents. So this is your final answer. Last, we're going to look at number 15. Number 15 is one with 3 terms again. So we're going to find the GCD of the first 2. So find the GCD of 25 and 15. So you do menu to 5, 25, comma, 15. You get 5. Now you're going to find the GCD of 5 and 15. So 5, comma, 15. So menu to 5, 5, comma, 15. And you get 5. So 5 goes into each individual term. So 3, you find the GCD of everything. So which one has a smaller exponent? It's x squared. So GCD is 5x squared all together, and this goes on the outside of the parentheses. So 5x squared goes on the outside, and we're going to figure out what's left over. So you're going to take negative 25x to the fourth and divide it by 5x squared. Negative 25 divided by 5, negative 25 divided by 5 is negative 5. So you get a negative 5, divide the subtract the exponent, so x squared. Subtract exponents. Next, you're going to take a negative 15, x cubed, and divide it by 5x squared. So when you divide negative 15 divided by 5, you get a negative 3. So you your x's you subtract, so a minus 3x. And then last, you take a negative 5x squared and divide it by 5x squared. So your x squares are going to cancel, but 5 is not going to cancel. If you take negative 5 and divide it by 5, you get a negative 1. So minus 1. And this is your final answer. To check, you would say 5x squared times negative 5x squared is negative 25x to the fourth because you add the exponents. 5x squared times negative 3x, negative 15x cubed because you add the exponents. 5x squared minus 1 times 1, a negative 1, is negative 5x squared. And you're done.